Welcome to Loving Me Before I Love You with Tammy Nicole, the podcast dedicated to you loving and putting yourself first. Others have come first in your life for years, and you know it's time for that to change. You're about to be empowered to set healthy boundaries, confidently have hard conversations, unapologetically put yourself first, and live the peaceful life you deserve. Remember, self-love is essential, and loving yourself sets the stage for every other love in your life. So get ready to embrace self-love like never before with your host, Coach Tammy Nicole.
Well, it's Transformation Tuesday over here at Loving Me Before I Love You, and we start every Tuesday about the same. Today's episode, we're basically talking about leadership, right? You guys know that being a leader is not just something that's career-based. Being a leader is something that is life-based because you must lead your life in the direction that you desire. Leadership is not a destination. It is a journey. And so today we're going to talk about how you can effectively lead your life and what are the stages of developing yourself into an amazing leader. I do have a special guest with me. Her name is Shonte, and she goes by Shonte, the voice. She goes by the voice because communication is her tool that she likes to use effectively to navigate the world of leadership. Shonte, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope you are. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So the evolution of a leader in understanding the stages, when we break this down into phases of leadership development, the challenges that come with each stage and how to embrace growth and how do you shape it, be it in career or just your life, what are the tools or the signs that you initially see when you say, you know what? That person is a leader. That person has gone through the stages of leadership, or maybe you're saying, they need some more development. How do you look at the stages of leadership?
When I see a person in a leadership role, I observe them and I need to see that they actually stand on business. And when I mean stand on business, they're able to make decisions on what they have experienced, not what other people say or how other people feel. Because sometimes being a leader, you can be led by what people are saying or how you should feel. And it kind of makes you navigate in the wrong direction and have mixed feelings about people that you shouldn't have because you're carrying the experience of somebody else. But when you grow in your leadership role, you are able to sit down and be like, well, I didn't have that experience with them, so they're actually a good person. Because a lot of times in a leadership role, it's probably going to be one person, 5 people, 10 people who try to push you away from somebody that just doesn't get involved with the chaos, who minds their business, who does what they need to do to make you feel bad about actually liking them or having a good experience with them and having good conversations with them. And when you're in a leadership role, you have to build a rapport with people so that you understand where they're coming from. And you can communicate with them from their perspective and you kind of meet in the middle. And sometimes you agree to disagree, but that takes growth. And it takes a whole lot of self-healing, self-love for you to be able to pinpoint that thing in somebody else.
Awesome. So basically what I'm hearing from you is that to be a good leader, you got to know yourself first.
Yeah, you got to know yourself.
Because I think that's interesting that you say that because of course, y'all know we talk all things self-love over here. But when you talk about the stages of leadership and being able to lead effectively other people, having that sense of self does allow you to, as you say, pinpoint different things within others that you probably at some point recognized within yourself. Can you share a little bit of your own leadership journey? Like, what stages did you go through when becoming a leader, and like how did it affect your life personally?
So when I started out in a leadership role, I was really young. My first leadership role was when I was in college. So I was going through the feelings of still wanting to be a college student and do all things college students do, while going to work and having to actually supervise other people, but realize I still got to treat them right because I don't want nobody mistreating me. But then experiencing some of the backlash from the people who were leading me, and it made me uncomfortable and it made me disgruntled, um, to the point that I left the job. Not because I wasn't doing a good job, it was just the people that were leading me weren't in a good place. And I was too young to recognize, oh, they need to heal. They need to love themselves. I just like, I don't know why they mad. I'm quitting this job. So I went through that phase. And then when I got older, I was in another leadership role. And I realized that if you have a conversation with somebody, they're going to do whatever you ask them to do. You got to treat people how you want to be treated, because you don't know what somebody else is going through. You don't know if they got sleep last night. You don't know if they are having a mental health issue. So I learned how to treat people better and leave my feelings out the door. And then the leadership role that I had the most struggle with was leading while in the prison. Because of the environment, it was hard to separate leading the actual people working and supervising the inmates. So sometimes I would miscommunicate with the people that I was leading and miscommunicate with the inmates. But then I had to learn that if I respect myself, but I gotta show that respect 24/7, regardless of what's going on, regardless of how the people that are supervising me, how they're acting. I don't gotta feed into that. So when I grew up and I matured and I understood that if I treat them good, they gonna do whatever I'm asking them to do. If I respect the inmates, it's gonna carry me wherever I go. And I started doing that, and it got easier for me. The people that I was supervising, they they built a relationship with me, and they came to me, told me personal stuff. And it was one of those things where I had to look in the mirror like, what if you was going through that? How would you feel? What would you want your supervisor to tell you? And then I had a supervisor who was feeding me that. Like, if I was going through something, I could sit down and be like, let me tell you what happened. And I'll get him to run down, well, you probably started something, so you need to fix you. And then you need to think about how you want somebody to respond to you if they were in your shoes. So I had good feedback from somebody leading me. So it made me want to lead people in the right direction, because I had to look at it. It could have been me in this situation. I'm not exempt. So when I started loving myself even more, it made it so much easier to lead the people that I was serving.
I agree, because I believe that self-leadership is the first stage of leadership, right? Being able to be accountable for your own actions, being able to basically not just put yourself in their shoes, but you have to be able to like have emotional intelligence and understand the dynamics of people. But you really understand the dynamics of people when you understand the dynamics of self, because you are a person, right? Like, You're not non-exempt. You're not an individual that does not have trials and tribulations. Just because of a position that you're in, per se, in a career, in a company, does not make you better than the individuals that are basically underneath you in reference of position, right? They're not underneath you as far as beneath you as a person, but you're leading them, you're serving them, you are guiding them in their own space and trajectory of career, right? And when you have learned personal growth and discipline and become self-aware, then you also understand how you show up and you understand how to guide others into a space of growth. Because what is the point of leadership if you're not teaching people how to grow?
Yeah, my theory was it was my responsibility to train and develop. So where I see you falling short is my responsibility to say, grab you by the hand and be like, hey, you can do it this way. But as long as you're doing this and you're following all the policies, you can find your own way to do it. But if you need help, just reach out to me. Because the goal is that if you want to be in a position of leadership one day, I want to help you get there. And a lot of times, leaders who are not self aware are afraid of their subordinates getting where they are. So they try to kick them because they're down and keep them there.
I can see that. And that to me is a personal insight, a real issue personally, when an individual finds the need to not allow people to grow beyond their status. A lot of times people come into position and they are there simply because that was their entry point. It doesn't mean that their skill set is not of par to be something more, something greater. I think a lot of times when we enter into a space at low level, most of the time it's because of our own self-perceptions of our own abilities. But other times it's strategic. Other time it's hey, the top level is a little slim. The door don't open wide enough. Let me get in where the door is open and then work my way to where I know I belong. And having that mindset for some people is the key. I think mindset of a leader must also be addressed. When I think about how do you lead your life? How do you lead your family? How do you lead your friendships? Like, leadership does not just result in a boardroom or an office career space. It exudes in regular life. So when you look at regular life leadership or the skill sets of leadership from a career perspective, transitioning over to personal life living, what skills do you feel are imperative to have in both scenarios?
In both scenarios, it's absolutely imperative that you have communications because of the dynamics of being at work and you don't really know the people that you're working with. You're only there for a short time. In life, you're there for a long time. So you have to have more conversations, in-depth conversations, hard conversations, conversations you don't want to have, but you have to communicate so that you're on one page. Because at work, you're there to do a job and you're going home. In life, it's long time. Like, regardless of whether or not you fall out, you're going to get back up and be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. But you have to agree to disagree in life. And you don't ever want to carry what's going on at work home because the two don't mix. And it's not necessary.
So let me ask you this. You say have hard conversations. We hear that term often, right? What's a hard conversation?
A hard conversation for me would be making a life decision without consulting the people that it's going to affect. Of course, you know how it's going to affect you when you start it, but you don't know how it's going to affect the people that are either living with you or that you're in a relationship with. And sometimes, a lot of times, we want to be like, well, I can do this and I don't got to talk to them. And they'll find out after I get done. But that's not how it works, because you don't know what they have planned for you, and you don't know what what direction they want to go in. Sometimes we just think that, and that's where we take the role of work into our life, because at work we may be able to make decisions without talking to everybody, and then in life we try to do the same thing and it backfires, because now you affecting all these different people, and they want to know, well, why didn't you tell me? Why did you do that? You should have asked me. And then it's kind of like, sometimes, most of the time, when we make the decision, we want to be the victim because we didn't have the conversations.
So now I'm going to just, I saw something the other day that talked about saying the words devil's advocate as a problem. So I don't want to say that, but I want to say, I want to, I guess, look at it from a perspective of why is it considered hard? Like, when I hear the phrase hard conversation, the first thing that comes to mind is that it's something you don't really want to talk about, right? So because I don't want to talk about it, saying the things or saying the words that come out of my mouth regarding this particular topic is difficult. But if we are truly authentic individuals, if we are living the life that we desire, that we are orchestrating, that we are using the pen and pencil to write out, why can't I come to you and say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. This is the plan that I have that I want to put in place. I don't want your opinion about it. I'm just kind of telling you my stance, right?
Well,
Why is that? Why is that such a difficult, hard thing to do? Or if you want to say, like, share how you feel about a thing. If you take it from outside of corporate, bring it home, and you have some things on your mind that you want to share with your loved ones, why is it considered a hard conversation to have when you're simply sharing how you think or how you feel about whatever is going on?
so for me, in all honesty, I really don't ever have any hard conversations, because once I make my mind up, I'm kind of a made up mind. Like, I already know what I want to do, and I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do. And either you're going to get on board or you just going to be left behind. A lot of times, my family members come to me and be like, what you think I should do? And I'm thinking about, you can do it this way. But I know that they've already made their mind up. They're just asking me if I'm thinking the same thing that they're thinking. But more than likely, I'm not. But they're going to do it their way anyways.
So they're coming for validation and approval.
Yes. Because a lot of times, if you want to do something and you thought about it, you thought that thing, you're going to do it. Like, if you got the courage and you're already, your mindset is there, you're going to do it. Like a few years ago, I wanted to get a brand new car. And I only called one person because I had talked to her about it. I said, remember you told me I should get a brand new car? I think this the year I'm going to get a brand new car. I don't know what kind. I'm just going to go get it. And she said, well, go get your brand new car, girl. So I go to the dealership, and then I called my boyfriend at the dealership. Hey, I'm about to get me a brand new car. And he tried to talk me out of it. But of course, I had a made up mind. I'm just calling to let you know that I'm here, that I'm about to get this car. But I didn't need you to confirm or deny. I just wanted you to know that I was here. Everybody else found out after I got in the car because I really wasn't looking for the validation. I just wanted you to know that I went and that you'll see the car when I drive off the lot with it. A lot of people don't have that mindset because they need the validation. And when I had went through this self-healing and realized I don't have to be validated by anybody but me because it's my life and I got to live it for me, because if I don't make the decisions that I want to make, I'm gonna be like, oh, I wish I would have did this. I should have did that. I could have did that. Oh man, I missed out on another opportunity because I didn't. Because my friend Kiki said she was gonna go, and then she said she wasn't going at the last minute, so I missed it. So I stopped doing that. Like, I got to the point, like, I'm too old for that. Like, either you going with me or you're not. I'm going by myself. And I kind of started that when I was old enough. When I started driving, I had my own car. I was like, I'm done asking people to go with me. And they always say no, or they always say, I got to find a babysitter, or I can't go because I got to talk to somebody. I'll go by myself. And you have to be comfortable enough with yourself. Like, even if you don't have that self-love 100%, you still need to be comfortable enough with yourself to say, I'm going to the restaurant and I'm going to eat by myself because I want this seafood plate. And I don't need nobody to come with me, because anything I do after, nobody can talk about it because it was just me. And for me, it was always about keeping my name out of people's mouth. So nobody was able to say, Shonte said, da-da-da-da-da, because Shonte wasn't with nobody. Or Shonte did, nobody went with me. And people would ask me, why you always go places by yourself? Because nobody can come back and tell what I was doing or what I did. So people have to understand that life is your life. Don't hold yourself back waiting for somebody to come along with you, because everybody's not meant to go. And you got to put in your mind, I'm going to do it regardless of whether or not they do it with me. You know, it's a gospel song. I'm going to go if I have to go by myself.
By myself.
Sometimes you just got to run by yourself. Like,
yeah, leadership can definitely be a lonely space. And lonely not from the standpoint of, oh, I feel so alone, but lonely from the standpoint of there are times where you do have to stand alone, stand in a space where you are in full control of understanding, as you mentioned, who you are and what you want and the decisions that you want to make. A lot of us don't know how to make decisions, which I think is a key component of leadership. Most of us do things by default versus by choice, because a decision is a choice. It's a deliberate act. And a lot of us don't make decisions. It's like, like you was just mentioning, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do that. Oh, but I need so-and-so to go with me. So if they don't go, I don't do. But did you make the decision that that's what you were going to do? So why did you shift your decision based upon somebody else's participation? Because you didn't decide. That wasn't a decision that you made. That was just like, oh, vicariously a desire.
Hey, hope you're feeling the love in today's episode. We'll pick back up where we left off in a moment. First, we're excited to share that Tammy has a collection of self-love t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, and journals for you to express how much you love yourself to the world. From comfy hoodies to motivational mugs, there's something for everyone. While you're listening to today's show, feel free to browse the full collection at IamTammyNicole.com. Thank you, and without further ado, let's get back into today's show.
yeah, I was in that space, and then I shifted because I knew that I was holding myself back, because every time somebody said, no, I can't go. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I already made my mind up that this is what I want to do. So I'm not going to go because they won't go with me, or am I going to go by myself?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to make decisions like, are you going by yourself, or are you going to wait for somebody to go with you? So you're not going to go because somebody won't go with you. Are you going to keep doing that, or are you going to just get up and go by yourself? So I made up in my mind that I'm going to get up and go by myself. And even in the leadership role at the prison, like, sometimes some things require you to ask your supervisor, but a lot of times I acted because I noticed the right thing to do, and I got to make a decision right now, and I can get forgiveness later.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to go tell him, hey, listen, I did this because this right here was going on. Am I in trouble? And then it's, no, you did the right thing. So you got to be confident in your position, confident in life about the decisions that you're making. Like, because that's the only way you're going to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you make a mistake, then you know, oh, I better not do that again. But you won't ever be able to have that lesson because you're not willing to just go run and do it.
Yeah.
Like, you have to lead your life how you want people to see it. If you want to be seen as a follower, that's how people are going to treat you. So you can't get mad when you're not getting seats at tables because people don't believe that you're a leader because you're not possessing that. You're not showing up like, I'm leading my life. I can go by myself. I can do this by myself. If every time somebody sees you, well, I had to wait on Kiki to come with me and she changed her mind, that's, people are going to see you as, oh, she's not able to stand on her own. And people won't support you that are already comfortably living a life that they want to because
Mm-hmm.
you don't believe in yourself.
Right.
So this thing it has to be personal.
Mm-hmm.
It has to get real personal. It has to get personal in the office, and it has to get personal in life. Like, if you're in the office and you know it's going to be for a short time, this is not what you want to do forever, you still have to show up and be like, okay, hey y'all. In life, you know, you don't know how long you're going to be living your life, so you got to live every moment like it's your last. And you got to treat people how you want to be treated, and you got to do the things that you desire. Because you don't ever want to have those moments where, I wish I would have did this. I wish I would have did that. Because then you have a whole bunch of resentment, and then you're back at square one, hating yourself because you missed out on 100 opportunities that you could have took.
Yeah. Preparation that meets opportunity will help you be in a space of seizing where you want to be. But if you're not prepared for it, I love the phrase, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready.
Correct.
But I also believe that in leadership, you must lead yourself first before you can lead others. And so to me, the cultivation of being a leader doesn't just start when you get a position. It starts in your own life. Like, where are you taking you? If you don't have a direction, vision of where you're going as an individual, how in the world are you going to be taking other people on anybody's journey? To me, a leader, or shall I say a lackluster leader, is an individual that micromanages on the job. Because if you yourself don't trust the people that are supporting you, it's because you don't trust yourself and what you're doing and teaching overall. If you have to watch a person under a microscope to make sure that what needs to get done is getting done, I'm asking questions. I'm asking questions about you as a leader, because how can you be so focused on me and get your job done and
You,
mine?
you can't. You can't. You can't. And that's one of the things that at the prison, there's probably over 50 cameras in a prison alone. Um, and of course, the supervisors have access to the cameras. There are supervisors who sit down and watch the cameras. For me, that's not fulfilling because a camera only tells you what's
Part of the
happening in the
story.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
It don't tell you how it started. It don't tell you what happened off camera. It don't tell you none of that. For me, I like to get personal because I need to know how you really act. So I'm going to spend some time with you out of my day because then I'm able to do my job because I seen how you're doing your job. Now I don't have to worry about it because, okay, you got it. Now I can sit down and do my job. But I can't do my job if I'm just watching you on a camera and then calling you every time I see you bend over to tie your shoe. Hey, you can't do that. Because then that means that I'm not really confident in doing my job.
Mm-hmm.
That means that I don't trust you.
Mm-hmm.
That means that I don't believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
That means that when you're ready to go to the next level, I'm not going to support you. And my way of supporting you is showing up for you. Let me spend a few minutes with you for you to ask me any questions that you have. If something's on your mind, let's have a conversation to get you through the day.
Yeah.
Because that makes a difference in how people act at work. They just need to know that they're supported. And when they feel unsupported, you have a disgruntled employee, and that's a bad day.
Yeah. I also think that as a leader, that it's not my job to do your job, right? So, in other words, if I'm leading effectively, I should be able to observe you and correct or provide guidance for your own correction when something goes wrong. I don't need to monitor you at a high level of practically doing the job for you, right? If I give you a task, I'm not going to ask about that task every 5 minutes until it's done. I'm going to give you the task. I'm going to give you a deadline on completing that task. And I have the high expectation that you're going to complete the task timely and return the task complete. You know what I mean? Like not incomplete, not half done, not, but if I see that, then it's in that moment that it becomes an opportunity to be teaching that individual how to do something better. Like we should be looking for teachable moments as leaders
Absolutely. Absolutely.
versus just really holding your hand through the process. I think leaders have to learn how to train and provide accurate instructions. Understand that people
Absolutely.
don't learn how you learn and understand that people don't operate the way you operate. So it's not about doing it your way, but it's about did it get done accurately, efficiently? You know what I mean? And so when I look at teaching people that leadership starts within, that leadership starts with them and not with the position, it is like very imperative to understand that people are not going to be you.
Mm-mm. And they can't necessarily do it like you, but they can be open to learning what you know. Um, and you just have to take the time out. That's why I spent time with people. If you don't know how to do something, now is the time for you to ask me so that I can show you. And if you need me to go and observe you and then give you corrective criticism about how you can do it better, we can do that right now. Because I want it to be a teachable moment.
Yeah.
If you don't know how to have a conversation with somebody, this is a teachable moment. Just listen to what I'm saying and how I'm acting, and then you just follow suit because I want it to be a teachable moment because I'm not going to always be here. I want you to be able to do it by yourself without me. So it's not always, it won't be the instance where you say, nobody showed me that.
Right.
I want to show you and I want you to learn. And I want you to ask any questions that you have right now, right here, so that we don't have to keep going over this over and over again. And if you have a problem with the way that I'm showing you, let me get somebody else to help you. And as a leader, you have to be okay with that too. Because your way of teaching, they may not receive it like that. And I think sometimes we get on the fence with somebody else showing our people or the people that we're supposed to be serving something, but there's no need. We all have one goal, and that's to get something done. So regardless of who's showing who, as long as it gets done,
Facts.
we got to reach the finish line. That's what we're trying to do.
Facts. I think I would love to encourage people to be leaders, right? Because I think a lot of times we feel like, not we, but there's a population of people that feel like there are certain folks that can be leaders and other people that cannot. I really wholeheartedly believe we're all leaders. We just have to tap into the leadership within us. It does not mean that I have to have 20 people supporting me to be a leader. Be the leader of your life. The skill sets that are required to be a leader in someone's corporate arena or in your own business or in your family, like be the leader in your own life. Identify the skill sets that are required. Mindset, communication, emotional intelligence, all of those things are imperative. And to be honest, all of those things you learn when you learn to love you. When you learn to love yourself, you learn to communicate positively and effectively to yourself. You learn how to set boundaries, which are required in leadership. You understand how to have a mindset shift and understand when a mindset shift is required. You learn different things that leaders require to lead other people when you learn to lead yourself.
And that's the most important thing, because you can't really ever call yourself a leader if you're not leading your life. Because people want to see you doing what you're asking them to do. Yeah. And that's the hardest part about having people follow you. If you ever ask somebody to tie their shoes and they've never seen you tie yours, they're just going to look at you like, you don't know how to do that. Why are you asking me to do that? And that's where you get the disconnect. Like, why you keep asking me to do stuff that you don't know how to do? Yeah. That's not fair to me. So you have to be an example by showing people that I'm leading the life that I want to live. I'm being a leader in my life. You have to create your own narrative because, of course, people are going to talk about you. But when you're leading your life, you know what's true, you know what's false, and you know what to even entertain or not entertain anything at all, because you're leading the life that you want to live. You have to be the leader of your life. You have to make decisions. And even if you have a hard time making a decision, you have to have that one person, that one call that's all, that you can sit on the phone like, I want to do X, Y, Z. What you think about that? And they're not going to try to talk you out of it, but they're going to give you positive feedback and constructive criticism about what could happen and what outcome you're looking for. Because those are the type of conversations that you have to have with people. Or that one person, you have to have one person. You don't need 5. You just need one person when you're trying to make a tough decision and you're not absolutely sure about it. They're going to give you that, well, if you do this and the outcome that you're looking for, yeah, I think go for it. Do it. I'm supporting you in whatever decision that you make. And it's not for validation. It's just for that reinforcement. Like, I was thinking about doing that, but I wasn't sure if that was going to work. You think that's going to work? And they can tell you all the things that may or may not work and give you a different perspective just to give you that, oh, Yeah. Okay. So I was on the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think reassurance for some things are important. But I also believe that you have to have the confidence within yourself that says, I'm going to make this decision and I'm prepared for whatever reward or consequence that comes from it. I think if you were to give tips or stages or steps on becoming an effective leader, I think the first step I would say, and you can chime in, on what you think as well. But I think that the first step is going to be to have a internal confidence that is built based upon who you are. Like, what is your internal compass on decisions, on morals, on, how do I live life, and what do I choose to do for me? Like, I'm really big on having a life motto that I live by that I can check my decisions against. You know, it's something about having like a stance and something that I check myself against. Did I do that? Did I do that thing? If that's why companies have vision statements and mission statements. Do you have a vision and mission statement for your life? That's a part of leadership to me. And that for me will be the very first thing I would be telling someone to do.
Absolutely, because sometimes people get caught up in what they see other people doing that they lose sight of their own vision, because you have to have your heart set on what it is that you want to do. And when you have your heart set on what you want to do, it's easier to do it. And it's easier to do it alone, do it scared, and do it regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
And then you have the opportunity to say, well, I did this and it didn't work out the way I thought it should.
Mm-hmm.
And you're prepared for the consequences.
Yep. And prepare to pivot. Like life itself is about living it. And there are going to be things that you do that you per se don't agree. I won't say you don't agree with it. You're going to do it and you're not going to like the outcome. It's not something that you have to always just like. Like, everything is not going to be hunky dory. There are going to be things in life that happens that you don't
Yeah, and you
like.
have to have that self-talk.
Yeah.
Because there are times where I do something or I go in a way, I go somewhere and I'm like, oh, dog, I should have went that way. I knew it was the reason why I was in that lane, because I was going to go that way.
Yeah.
And now I went this way. This is the longer way, but now I know for next time. So you have to have that self-talk and not be afraid of the self-talk, because every day is a day that you have the opportunity to encourage yourself. You have to believe in yourself. You got to have more belief in yourself than you want anybody else to have.
Yeah.
Because the thing about other people is, when they're picking and choosing who they want to work with, who they want to talk to, they got to see that you believe in yourself. When they have a conversation with you, they don't want to have conversations with people. Well, I think I could do that, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
They're not going to end the conversation because they're going to be like, she's not on, or he's not on the level that I thought they were. They don't really have the confidence. And I guess they need to do some mindset work, and then they'll send you an email because they no longer want to have conversations with you.
Yeah. You do have to show up. And I always say show up for you, period. And the rest will find its way.
You have to show up. You got to show up even when you don't feel like it. Because there's somebody, you may not ever notice somebody's. They're always watching. They're waiting for you to show up, to even start their day, because you're encouraging them. You're doing something or saying something that just made their day perfect. And so, most of the time, people are not going to let you know that you're doing that. They're just waiting, like, until you stop showing up. Then they're going to be like, Well, what happened? Something going on with you? I haven't seen you
Exactly.
in a while. So you have to be the leader of your life.
Absolutely.
And it's very, very, very imperative that you do that.
Absolutely. So I want to first thank you for joining me. Thank you for depositing positive leadership techniques and stages into our listeners. Tell the listeners where you can be found if they want to learn how to develop maybe some effective communication skills or leadership skills. Where can they find you?
They can follow me on Facebook. It's Shonte Youmans. It's SHONTEYOUMANS. On Instagram, Shonte Youmans. TikTok, Shonte Youmans. All things Shonte Youmans. And you can set up an appointment to have a free consultation if you want to develop your communication skills, because communications is necessary if you're trying to live a thriving life and have healthy relationships. It's important that you're able to communicate how you feel, what you think, and what you got going on.
Absolutely. Again, thanks for joining. And you guys know that communication is super key, even for yourself, right? I talk all the time about loving you and being able to have healthy self conversations, healthy thoughts. I just want to, again, thank you for joining me, Shonte. Remember, you guys, love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus. If you are interested in coaching with me, Coach Tammy Nicole, send all of your emails, questions, or inquiries to coaching@IamTammyNicole.com. And I will catch y'all next Tuesday. Have a good one.
That's a wrap on another episode of Loving Me Before I Love You. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a second to show your support by subscribing and leaving a positive rating and review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. Stay connected with Tammy. Make sure you're following her on Instagram and TikTok at Coach Tammy Nicole. If you like to work with Tammy or have any questions you'd like her to answer, please head over to www.IamTammyNicole.com. Until next time, always remember to love yourself so much that the love from others is a bonus.